In this module, we'll discuss conditional formatting, which is essentially putting formatting in cells based on the contents of the cell. So in our first video on conditional formatting, let's talk about the top-bottom rules option in conditional formatting. So global warming is a big issue in the world. Not everybody believes in it, but we'll show you some data that might convince you that there is warming in the world. So the file is global warming 2011 temp. Now I don't have data for 2012 through 2015, but they appear to have been warmer years than even the years that we have listed here. So what we have is three columns that are exactly the same, and what these are essentially the average temperature in the world measured at weather stations in degrees Celsius, mainly weather stations in the water, I believe, for this data set. So we have 1881's temperature, 1882's temperature through 2011. Now, these numbers just don't make sense to anybody as numbers, even the greatest mathematicians in the world. So you might want to put some visual highlighting in here. So let's start in column F and let's highlight the 20 warmest years. Now, if there's no global warming, you would think the 20 warmest years would be distributed randomly throughout that time frame. But that happens to not be the case. So I'll do Control-Shift-Down arrow to select the data. You must select the data first before you do conditional formatting. Go Home tab, Conditional Formatting. There's all sorts of choices here, which we'll teach you in the subsequent videos. Go top, bottom rules, go top 10 items, and change it to 20. And that will give you the 20 warmest years. Now, they should be randomly distributed, but look at this, okay? 1995 through 2011, that is 17 years in a row, were all among the 20 warmest years. That really seems unlikely to happen by chance. That's pretty convincing evidence that we have global warming. Now, how serious is it? That's a different question, and a lot of people argue about that, and that's beyond the scope of our discussion. But in the next column, let's highlight the 10% warmest years and the 10% coldest years in our range of data. And again, if there was no warming, they should be randomly distributed throughout the data set, but you'll see they're not. So select the range, go conditional formatting, go top bottom rules, top 10%. Let's make those green. You can pick custom format your own color, but I don't really care. And then I'll go Home Conditional Formatting, top bottom rules, bottom 10%, we'll leave that at red. Okay, now let's take a look. Again, all our recent years, 2001 through 2011, are in the top 10% of the warmest years. And then the coldest or least warm years are basically near the beginning there. And that's just not a random pattern. Now, maybe the most convincing is the following. Let's highlight every year that's above average in temperature in green, below average in temperature in red. So again, we go to top bottom rules, above average. We could pick green or red. Let's say green for above average. And let's go conditional formatting, top bottom rules, below average, red. Just like flipping a coin to see if we're below or above average. Okay, now look what happens here. This is very startling. 1977 through 2011 are all green above average. That's 35 years in a row. Now, if the temperatures were sort of randomly going up and down, that's like tossing a coin 35 times in a row and getting heads, which is very unlikely. I think you'd agree. So again, that's strong evidence that we're getting warmer, but how much warmer? Some skeptics argue that we've had warmer periods in the Middle Ages. I don't know enough about this. But notice at the beginning, all the years are below average in that range. Okay, so I think the highlight cells, the top bottom option has given us a very interesting perspective visually on how the Earth's temperatures have fluctuated 1881 through 2011. Now in the next video, we're going to teach you about the highlight cells option of conditional formatting, which lets you easily create with the click of a mouse many cool formats based on the contents of the cell.